So Everton 1, Arsenal 0, second defeat of the season in the league. Back-to-back defeats, if you include the FA Cup loss 8 days ago, which is why I'm quite upset with that victory for Everton today, because we had 8 days to prepare against a team that we knew had a new manager and we knew who the manager was. But Kenny, what did you make of that shambles up there in Goodison today, mate?
We're at fault, outclassed, because let's face it, the reason I say outclassed is not because I thought Everton got better players than us. They haven't. But they created the more clear-cut chances. I mean, Calvert-Lewin puts that away, clear-cut. Decore as well has a clear-cut chance. And, you know, a lot of ours was probably half chances. You know, Saka getting the ball cleared to the line by Cody. But Everton's midfield 5 was brilliant. Brilliant. They tactically obeyed their manager. I mean, we were all thinking, why you left that Damari Gray? Well, Dwight McNeil showed that way you left that Damari Gray. I mean, Dwight McNeil and Mikalenko completely subdued Saka. And on the other side, Iwobi and Seamus Coleman subdued Martinelli. And that's where the game was won. Defensively, you can't argue about Tchaikovsky and Cody. And, you know, Calvert-Lewin worked his nuts off. They've worked on it. And, you know, the best players on the pitch was Onana, Gay, Decore. You can't knock it because, you know, we've had, because they played so well, we've had to substitute Partey. We've had to substitute Odegaard, our better players, and Martinelli had to psycho. But you know what? I said it in podcasts with yourself and even in private. These are the games, key games that can win and lose Arsenal title. Goodison Park's a place that you've got to win if you want to win a title. I'm not saying we're not going to win a title, but it is a hard place for us. And it showed it today. It wasn't just the manager bounce. It was loads of things. Arsenal have got no complaints whatsoever. I think asked a lot of questions as well. I think we're coming up to a stage where place up for grabs now in a couple of positions. And this is not knee-jerk reaction. Ben White, again, struggled today. So he has to be looking over his shoulder at Tomiyasu now. And Martinelli, again, struggled as well. I mean, it says a lot that you've got a lot of pace, and a 34-year-old who's lost a yard of pace still managed to keep up with you and still managed to pursue you quite comfortably. Those are the areas which I'm really, really disappointed with. And I think, you know, it's a good thing we have got Trossard now to put him under pressure. You know, no one's going to argue if Trossard starts next week against Brentford, because Martinelli hasn't played well this season since the time of the calendar year. And that's not a criticism, it's just his facts. It's not personal. Ben White is being substituted in the second time, I think second or third time he's been substituted because he's not playing well. So again, that's different. Partey as well struggled.
Do you think that Partey is because he did have that problem with his rib, or do you just think he was just outworked, outbullied, and outfought today?
No, I'm not going to.
Because what was the logic behind taking him off and bringing Jorginho?
I'm not going to. Well, simple reason is that if he's off, if he got all of those things you mentioned, all the you know the outs that you mentioned, it happened. But if he's not 80%, if he's not 100% fit and he's only about 70% fit, then get him off the field, because Everton were never going to run an empty. He would have been a liability. So you've got to get him off the field. Players who are not only just getting tactically out muscled, but who are not fully fit, they couldn't need them, because we would have got massacred if he stayed on the field. And that's not an exaggeration.
Oh no, he was probably the worst player in the first half.
Well, and there was a lot. It's no doubt about it.
For that, but he was probably the worst.
Definitely, and it's not personal, because he's our best player. But today, Everton tactically looked at the situation and said, right, these are key players. We win this battle, we can win the match. We stopped their wingers trying to get the game. We won the game, and that's exactly what they did. It wasn't rocket science. People were laughing at Sean Dyche when he was talking about bleep tests. Well, you can see why they did a bleep test, did it? You can see why they did a bleep test, because they never stopped running. And I think this interview I'm going to give you is more about Everton, how well Everton played, about how bad we played, because we just got no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. I don't think there's a single Arsenal fan on the planet that will sit there and say that we deserve something out of that game.
I can think of a few. I can think of a couple who, and I love it a bit. I love him. and I grew up with him. In
Malpai, you retreat and hope Everton get relegated.
Exactly. And you know, I love you. I know you watch me. I love you. Love you, and I'll do anything for you. But I know. But I'm just beseeching you, do not talk about Malpai and his little tactics, or the little poking Saka's eye. They're all better than us. You know what I mean?
Well, the poking Saka's eye was accidental anyway. Let's be real with that. Yeah, the Malpai Zinchenko thing, like that was just comical. Like, it was just hilarious.
Well, Malpai's team's at the bottom of the table. So if he's at the bottom of the table, he doesn't owe us anything. He doesn't owe us anything. The fact is, but that's instant happening injury time. The game was already lost by then, so it didn't make a bare bit of difference. But what Arsenal need to sort of do is roll the sleeves up, because teams are working this out.
Yep, and this is the blueprint now on how you play Arsenal from now to the end of the season.
I've got something controversial to say, and it's not personal against the number 14, but it just showed you why we really, really miss Jesus. A game like today, it shows you why we miss Jesus. Now, Eddie's done well for us, scored the odd goal. He, like I said, he's done his job. But in those sort of situations when we're trying to, like I said, get past the press, we're trying to, like I said, get past the rigid defence. You need Jesus out there. Jesus what he would have done, he would have make different runs, try to brought players into play, and create some spaces more for our wingers and more for our attackers, especially Xhaka running past. Eddie can't do that. Eddie runs his channels, he closes down, and then he's a fox in the box. Now, don't get me wrong, that's fantastic. But in a game like this, when you've got a stringent defence, that's where you miss Jesus. Now,
he did do that once, where he put one on a plate for Odegaard, who's probably bounced down to Anfield. It's probably still going. But other than that, Eddie didn't really do a great deal, did he?
And that's not a criticise of him. Not every player has the same attributes. But the fact is that what we need, especially when we get into the business side of the season, is to get Jesus back as quickly as possible, because we are going to struggle to break teams down, especially when they're set up like this without him on the field. We're going to struggle because simple reason is that, especially down that left-hand side, Martinelli needs a Jesus to play alongside him. Trossard could probably play without him.
What did you make of Trossard when he came on?
To be honest, I thought he looked small on that pitch, because Everton was so physical in terms of like the way they were making their tackles, the way they were just using.
And they're all tall lads as well, aren't they?
Using their athleticism. I thought him, Jorginho, and Vieira looked really tiny on that pitch. Looked lightweight today. That's no criticism at all as well, because he did get in situations. He did try to force a play. Had a shot on goal, but it was one of the things there. Let's just say it was like putting someone in one of the battlefields in Vietnam when without any armor, because the Viet Cong, which is Everton, were just like I said, fully armored and really up for it in the soldiers' faces, and that's what it was like. It was going to war, and they're just too lightweight. But the changes had to be made, because all our better players got subdued today. Everton got it right, and when they're not effective, or when one of them's carrying a bit of an injury, you're able to carry them, get them off that pitch as quickly as possible, mate. Because Odegaard got his ankle trodden as well, so he was struggling a bit off the pace. Get him off.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, we've got Brentford at home next. And if we play like that, they'll probably turn us over as well, because they're doing a really well.
Sorry, cut you, but I'm beseeching you now. Don't be surprised. You're going to get a lot of that now. Teams are going to double up against them, because at the end of the day, as far as they're concerned, mentally, they think they're playing the Champions elect. You know what I mean? So
apologies to everyone who can hear the next door neighbour's kid having a meltdown.
I can't
screaming the whole block down.
I can't hear nothing.
Mate, it's going straight through me. When the child screams, mate, that goes straight through you, man.
Fair enough.
The kid's having a paddy next door.
Kids, isn't it? But as I said before, teams, expect more of that. And I think Mick Arteta's got to play for that. But what he needs to do, he needs to go to his physio and say how long before Jesus gets back, because he needs him in that team big time. He needs him.
100%.
And I'm just going to conclude as well. I'm going to conclude as well. If Ben White and Martinelli don't shape up and back their ideas up, don't be surprised for Man City. You see Tomiyasu and Trossard playing instead of them because you can't carry those two. Enough's enough now. You're right.
No,
You know,
100%.
get your
They've
form
both
back,
been shocking for a while.
or you're out of team. Simple. Enough's
Yeah,
enough.
facts. Listen, we're going to wrap it up there. We'll do player ratings a little bit later. I've got 3 more fan
I'm up
cams
for
to do.
that.
Make sure you go and check out everybody who's watching this. Make sure you check out my fan cam. Jez is next, then Matt, Neftali, then player ratings. Excuse me. But it's another game off the board. Now we've got to all sit there and hope Tottenham do Man City tomorrow. Good luck. It's the history of the Tottenham. Laters.